I've been hanging out at home today because it's cold and it was overcast and there was nothing good to do, like going out on the bike, and I had some frozen meals left. There's no reason to go out. So I'm not proud of this, but I binged watched videos on YouTube, and this includes everything: religious content, prophecies. It includes videos on prostitution, videos on my 600-pound life, like videos on everything. I can't even remember. Of course, there's probably dog videos mixed in there. So, whatever YouTube recommends, I've been watching it. And I was not pleased to see a video. It was interviewing, good boy, it was talking to pimps and prostitutes. And the guy making this video, he seemed like a nice guy. It was, my dog's right here. He was polite, he was soft-spoken, good. But he kept mentioning how we need to legalize prostitution and that there should be brothels. Was it in Las Vegas is the only place where you can go to legal brothels? He was saying how the whole country should have brothels, and then it would be safe and it would get rid of STDs, because it's the oldest crime, or the oldest profession is what they said. And this was like, he seemed like a kind-hearted person, like a father, was not hiring anyone for services, and just wanted it to be safer for them. But this is wrong, and this isn't the solution. Anyone can see, any good person can see the amount of narcissists and demonically possessed people we have out there walking around. And the main way they transmit their demons is from sexual relations. So we don't need to legalize this, because then you will have people that aren't out committing crimes. Maybe they're not strong believers, but they might be lukewarms, and they kind of know it's bad, but it's still legal. So they wouldn't do this if it was illegal, but they actually might go into a brothel and think, okay, this isn't really good, but I'm not breaking the law. So you're going to have people that wouldn't have done this, and they are going to be hiring prostitutes. And this can go for either gender. I don't care what gender it is that prostitutes themselves. This is wrong. All of this is wrong. The whole society is wrong. And we need to fix it, not enable it. And I probably have a different stance on this than other people. A lot of times, especially the women, and men get involved too, but they are usually abused when they are preteens or children. And that gets them into this mindset where, like, I was taken advantage of and I've already lost it. So then they want to take advantage of men to get back at them or make money from it because their purity is already lost. But it's just usually it's initiated by abuse. And instead of helping them and having real solutions to get them out of this, I'm not saying there's no solutions at all, but obviously they're still walking around and some tolerance is taking place. The police know it's happening and they're not able to stop it. So something has to give. When you see obvious prostitutes walking back and forth along the street, and they have pimps, and then the pimps are taking all their money and then they're paying whatever bills they have in return, we know this is going on. All the transactions are tracked and traced anyways. I'm pretty sure they even put smart dust in the bills these days, in the dollar bills. They can still have dollar bills and track and trace what hand it goes to and what it's spent on. The amount of technology that spies on us is insane and far beyond. It's far beyond what the politicians would be willing to admit. So they already know what's going on. And they allow it. They allow this to continue. Because this is completely wrong and it has to stop. You have some lukewarms that dabble and then they've contracted some demons. And they've spread demons around. And then the whole world is narcissist. This is never good. If it's to make a lot of money, then we need to make professions where people can make a lot of money. And they don't have to sell their bodies, and they don't have to sell their soul, and they don't have to sin to make money. Why not just offer a product or service that people want, and charge a fair rate for it instead of outsourcing it to third world countries, like where You don't need to prostitute yourself, and maybe they made a whole lot in the beginning, I don't know, but now they make jack shit. Like, you could make more probably at a retail job. And you know, maybe not in all cases, but they normally become addicted to drugs, and then the pimp administers them drugs, and that keeps them going back. It's a horrible system, but the solution is not legalizing prostitution. Um, I actually think the solution are the new Trump mental institutions and stricter penalties and punishments. And, you know, uh, Sharia law, as the Muslims do, as well, they're not even Muslims. Sharia law, as the Shia and Sunnis do, is wrong, and they're not even following their own religion. That's way over the top. You can't even kiss someone in public. That's insane. But they wouldn't be allowing this, I don't think. I think we need to have. It's not compulsion in religion when it's a victimless crime, but this actually does hurt people. There are victims involved. This video, I watched a few minutes of it, and the man that was interviewing a pimp asked him some questions, and basically the pimp, you know, he said he's doing it to help these women, but essentially they pray to him, they get everything from him, they pray to him like instead of God, is what he said. This was the most insane thing. But then they walk around, and they're obviously prostitutes. The police know they're prostitutes, and they're not able to stop them, even though they know what they're doing. And this is a case for the Trump mental institutions. Any prostitute, anyone caught involved in this, immediately goes to a Trump mental institution, where they will get 4 hots and a cot. Or 3 hots and a cot. It's better than a prison, but it's not as good as the cheapest hotel. They get a place to stay. They are to remain in this mental institution until they have another plan, like a job or someone that will take them in. And if they get caught again, then they will be forced to stay for a longer period of time. And then they get caught again, and then the amount of duration they have to stay in the mental institution increases until they're just there. Maybe there's a limit of 5 or 10 years they're in this. I don't know. But how many times do you need to get caught, pimping or being a prostitute? And the mental institutions also help, because it's a safe place that's monitored. They get food. There's heat, there's air conditioning, there's water, there's blankets. There should be a place to wash clothing and store clothing. They have closets, and they have a lock on their door. But it would be something more like a college dorm room, something small. And there's also a community center. And so this would be good and help rehabilitate many people. And the pimps also go to the Trump mental institutions, but they go for, I think the pimps need to go for a lot longer time. The current system punishes the prostitutes and kind of lets the Johns get away with it. It's not in every case, but they're less likely to be caught, and then they actually don't get punished as much as the prostitutes, which many times were abused as children. So I think the Johns, the pimps, need to go to these mental institutions much longer, that maybe they get double the sentence. And these are separated based on gender. So you have a women's mental institution, and you have a men's mental institution. And if you have people that are married, well, too bad. You should have thought about that, because if you were married, you wouldn't be out pimping yourself, or you wouldn't be out prostituting. This is the solution I see. There are people that constantly cause trouble. They steal, they deal drugs. They need to go in these mental institutions too. And these mental institutions, they will have religious services available. They will have libraries available. There will not be weightlifting. Maybe there can be games and sports they can play and things like that. But this is not going to be a prison where you have people shivving each other, stabbing each other. It's not like that. This is actually a place where people can live, and they do have freedom. But we need to get rid of this altogether. I don't care. I don't care if you make a lot of money prostituting yourself. I don't think it's that much, honestly. It can all be taken away. In an instant, you can lose everything and be poor. I don't know how many of these prostitutes own their own $1 million homes. and then they would have to continue paying property tax if they were even able to keep it. I don't think any of them have wealth or long-term wealth. They just have a fleeting amount of money that comes in, which is immediately used up, and they're left with nothing. Nothing to pass on to their children. The current system is awful. Basically, the police can't stop crimes they know are going on. They have to allow it to exist while they give us speeding tickets. They give us speeding tickets while there's pimps and hoes walking the streets, creating more narcissists every day. And by legalizing it, you're almost like you're like telling people it's not as bad as it is. It's worse than we think it is. That's the problem. We've been immersed into this culture, like we were propagandized by media, television, movies for so long into accepting one-night stands and casual dating. And that got to the point where even now prostitution is taboo, but it's not even seen as that bad. It's much worse than we think it is. It is much worse than you think it is. It needs to stop altogether. And I think that the only solution I see is not even prison. These people just need to go to mental institute. How about the pimps go to prison? So actually I'm thinking the pimps can go to prison and the prostitutes can stay in the Trump mental institutions. This might be better because from what I've seen, many times, in not every case, but most pimps, they hold the money, they have the power, and they even drug their clientele, their prostitutes. So, in not every case, but in the majority of cases, there's an unfair balance of power. It's usually an older pimp. Many times it's a teenage or younger woman, and sometimes it's young men. That many times they have cross-dressed or they're addicted to drugs, and that they are victims. Even if they got out of the business and were given money, they are addicted to drugs. They don't have an education. They don't have a line of work. So sending them to these mental institutions and then training them for a respectable career, and they get out and they have a real job where they can pay their own bills. I think there's a lot of value in that. And we don't need to blame these prostitutes. Many of them were victimized. They should come out of their sentence and you don't even know. So it's kind of like censored. If somebody looks at their record, they can't see it. And they will be educated and they will have a safe place to stay, store their things, even be able to do certain jobs while they're there. But it will have to be zero tolerance. If someone is able to leave the facility, I don't know. This is something like maybe first offenders would be able to leave. I think they all should have visitors, but they might not even they might not even allow them to leave because there are so many people from their past that would try to get them right back into that lifestyle. So I don't know. This might not be allowed, or they might have to be in the program for so long before they're allowed to leave. Maybe there's jobs they can have inside the facility, so they could set up jobs for them and things they can do. Maybe even bringing certain factories in, or a lot of jobs people can do over the internet. So things like that they could do inside of these mental institutions. They could get like online training and college degrees. And I think, yeah, maybe they should pay for the online school. But they're not going to be eating caviar. It won't be, the facilities won't be as nice as any apartment. Let's say maybe comparable to some college dorms where it's like a tiny room, and then there's an area where people can use the shower facilities. It's separated by gender. And if you are married, well, that's too bad, because you're in a mental institution now. And so if you were married, that didn't save you. That wasn't able to stop you from doing certain things that, and this isn't like, I'm thinking that the pimps need to go to prison now. I changed my mind as I just clicked record, and I wasn't really sure where I was going to go with this video. I think the pimps, no matter what gender they are, they go directly to prison, and the prostitutes, no matter what their gender is, no matter if they're straight or gay, they go straight to the mental institutions. And they will be treated with respect, and they will be given treatments to get rid of any addictions they have, and they will learn life skills, and they will be given decent clothing, not designer stuff, but stuff that looks nice. And some of these people have never experienced this in their entire lives. And those that are released and they reoffend, then are back for a longer time, and maybe after 3 strikes, you're just in the mental institution. That's it. I don't know what to say, because we can't have prostitutes out on the street. And those that keep reoffending, even when they are rehabilitated, are probably narcissists. I'm just going to say. They're probably Jezebels. And there are males, there are cross-dressing spirits, there are wicked, evil spirits, and they love to cause humans to sin, which is why they love to be involved in into this profession. But at the same time, many of them are victims, and many of them will be strong believers, and will want to follow God's laws in the future. So we all start off sinning. It's how we were designed and made, so we can appreciate God's laws. Because if we didn't come to earth and weren't involved in this sin, then we'd be like the angels up in heaven, not appreciating any of it, and some of us would fall and end up in hell. And even then, the angels could never appreciate, the heavenly angels could never appreciate all the blessings from God in the way that a human that lived a human existence can, because we know what it's like to go without and to be treated unfairly. So then we really appreciate when things are perfect and we are blessed beyond measure. And this appreciation is something that we wouldn't have. So some of these prostitutes, they go through this. This is a good thing, actually, when God sends us to earth. And we go through trials and tribulations, because at the end of it, all our sorrows and suffering is wiped away. And then the tears are wiped away, we're healed, and then we just live in heaven for eternity. And that we would be thankful for this, because we're actually able to appreciate the blessing at that point. But it's not, no one is better than anyone else in this regards. We all go through different trials, and we all suffer in different ways, and then we'll be blessed at the end of it. But some of the people walking around aren't human. Some of them are spirits walking in human bodies. And sometimes, like, the angels come to earth, the heavenly angels, so the angel is a messenger. But, I mean, the spirit beings that were born in heaven, and they weren't incarnated on earth. Sometimes they come down to earth in a human body. And the point is to test us or to help us on our way. And some of the prostitutes and pimps are actually these spirit beings, and they're not even humans. And the ones that would never repent, I would say many times they would be these spiritual beings. You have demonic beings possessing a human body. They can stay in the prisons, and they can stay in the mental institutions. You know, that's the best thing for us. We can't accept this. You know, I have heard different things that I disagree with, to where there are some Christians, and they say how masturbating is a sin, and I disagree, simply because I haven't seen anywhere where God says it's a sin. So I think that's made up. There's only a comment by, I think, Paul, or one of Paul's employees, that says, you know, it's a bad behavior of the Gentiles, and, you know, it kind of is, but it's not a sin, okay? So it's not like you don't have another option. And another option is you can simply get married, and then, you know, you don't need to go and hire a prostitute. And if you've got some sickness, some mental sickness, to where, you know, normal things don't work for you, then you need to get an exorcism. And maybe that's a case where this person also needs to check themselves into a mental institution. So the Christians, like, pornography is wrong, that's bad, but you don't need that. You know, God has given us the ability to take care of ourselves, and also we are able to get married. But I don't think that prostitution should ever be legal. This is a sin for a reason. It is not a victimless crime. And most of the people involved in this were sexually abused as children, and they have not been healed. And it's just making their lives worse. Most of them, I would say, from what I've seen, most of them are addicted to drugs. And this is another thing where you can be influenced by spirits and be possessed by demons. And we need to help these people. And really, we need to expect more. Like, instead of lowering our standards, we need to raise our standards. Um, it's okay to be single. It's okay to be by yourself. You don't have to go out and find someone. And you don't need a prostitute to take care of yourself. You don't even need to be with a person. You're perfectly capable of just existing on your own and not harming or victimizing anyone else. And I don't think it's that hard to refrain from clear and obvious sins. Like I can choose to steal or I can choose to not steal. I can choose to lie or I can choose to tell the truth. I can choose to stay here in my house and have pet dogs, or I can choose to go out and hire a prostitute off of Craigslist. I choose to do what is right, and so can you. Anyone can make this decision. So instead of lowering our standards, how about we raise our standards and expect more from each other? This is ridiculous. It's just the throwaway culture we have, and the lack of respect. No one respects themselves. It's a really sad system, and I would like to see the morals come back. I think they are coming back. Things have gotten so ridiculous for a while. I think the pendulum is swinging the other way, and so we cannot allow legal prostitution. I think anyone that is caught committing this, and the police know who it is, send all the prostitutes to the mental institutions. They get to stay there. And then if they show they've reformed and rehabilitated, then they can be released. They reoffend, they're back in, and now they have I don't know how many year sentence, 2-year sentence or something. And all this while, they will be bettering themselves. They'll get food, a place to sleep, a place to stay. They'll have some freedoms. They'll be able to get an education and to do some form of work while they're there and make money. Now, it won't be the same level of freedom and prosperity they would have in the outside world. But it's not prison. It's not like going to a maximum security prison. It actually would be a place where people can make friends, and then, even the women, or the guys too, they could just like have little sleepovers and hang out, and maybe they'd even be allowed to have some beer in there every once in a while. Not too much, but why not? And then they could watch shows together and have popcorn, and but they're not going to have a lot of money. They're not going to be able to have very expensive hobbies, but they will have some enjoyment in a safe, secure location. I saw a video about, it was a charity that provided lodging and rehabilitation for female prostitutes. However, the amount of money spent on this, first of all, the apartment was nicer than what most people have, so that was wrong. No, it should not be better than what someone can get on the outside world. Like, the amount of money being spent on this was ridiculous. It was too much. No, it needs to be less than your average person working. We're not, like, rewarding people for sinning. Because you have people, if it's that much better, you're going to have people out that don't even intend to prostitute themselves walking around just so that they can get sent to these free government housing developments. So that's not what we want either. It can't be as good as an apartment. But also, what one person can do and what one business can do is not what the entire government can do. This is a nationwide, this is actually a worldwide problem, and we needed to expect better and not accept this. It is not to be legalized. This would not have been allowed in the past. There were always criminals. There were always some narcissists. I don't think so many as today. Like, maybe there's a few. So you'd always have criminals skirting the rules, but I would say the majority of the people would not be involved in this, is my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But when there is casual dating and people just give themselves away for a dinner, then it's not really seen, it doesn't seem like such an important crime as it is. So we all need to work on our values and following God's law. And that's where we get happiness, enjoyment from. If we follow these laws, if everyone followed these laws, we would have heaven on earth. And so the solution is not legalize prostitution. There's probably more I could add to this. I decided to make this video because I just saw part of a video where the person who seemed like a good person kept trying to push legalized prostitution. Like, no, mental institutions. Go to the mental institutions, get off our street. And then what if you are married to somebody that is not they don't have a strong willpower, and then they see that and they think about it, and maybe they don't even do it, but it's on their mind. You don't want that. You don't want that temptation out there, even if they don't do it. And then it's placing seeds of doubt. We need a zero tolerance policy and get these people off the streets and into the loony bins where they belong. And and actually a lot of these female prostitutes are not crazy, but they do have mental problems and mental issues from unhealed trauma. And the solution is not a normal prison, and the solution is not just to be let out and then they reoffend. So thanks for watching. God bless you guys.